Attention passionate San Francisco 49ers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on San Francisco 49ers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true San Francisco 49ers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and San Francisco 49ers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you're like me, you've been glued to your screens, following every twist and turn of this NFL season, especially when it comes to the 49ers, a team that has been both a symbol of excellence and resilience over the years. The 49ers, a franchise with a storied history dating back to their founding in 1946, have always been a team that embodies grit, innovation, and a relentless pursuit of greatness. From the glory days of the 1980s with legends like Joe Montana and Steve Young to their recent Super Bowl appearances, the 49ers have consistently been a team that captures the imagination of fans across the country. But as we all know, no season is without its hurdles, and this year has been no different. Right now, the 49ers are facing a particularly challenging period. They've been hit hard by injuries, which is something every NFL team has to contend with at some point, but the sheer volume and timing of these injuries have tested their depth and resilience. Let's start with George Kittle, one of the most dynamic tight ends in the league, a player who has been a cornerstone of this team's offense since he was drafted in 2017. Kittle's injury has been a significant blow, especially considering his role not just as a pass catcher, but also as a blocker and a leader on the field. His absence has been felt in every game, and it's no exaggeration to say that losing Kittle to the IR has disrupted the offensive rhythm and game plan that the 49ers have worked so hard to establish. And then there's Brock Purdy, the young quarterback who has been a revelation for the 49ers since taking over as the starter. Purdy's story has been nothing short of remarkable, a seventh-round pick who stepped into the spotlight and quickly became a fan favorite, leading the team to impressive victories with his poise, intelligence, and decision-making. However, in recent weeks, Purdy has gone down with an injury that looks like it might keep him out for at least 2 games. That's a huge concern because the 49ers are in the middle of a playoff push, and losing your starting quarterback, especially one playing at such a high level, can be a game changer. On top of all that, Jahan Jennings, a player who has been a key part of the receiving corps, has been battling injuries throughout the season. Jennings, known for his toughness and versatility, finally managed to get in a limited practice ahead of Week 3, but his health remains uncertain. The 49ers receiving corps has been somewhat battered, with Ayuk also missing some time early on and now struggling to stay on the field consistently. This situation has led many analysts and fans alike to consider how the team might adapt and what moves could be made to shore up their weaknesses. Now, I want to pause here for a moment, because this backdrop of injuries and uncertainty has sparked a lot of speculation about the team's future moves. And this is where things get really interesting, especially with the NFL trade deadline approaching and the possibility of reinforcements coming in. Recently, a trade idea has been making the rounds, a potential blockbuster that could reshape the 49ers' receiving options and give them a much-needed boost. And I'm talking about the possibility of the Philadelphia Eagles trading Jahan Dotson to San Francisco. Yes, you heard that right. Jahan Dotson, the talented young wide receiver out of Penn State, who was drafted in the first round in 2022, has been a player whose name has come up in trade talks. Marissa Myers of TWSN recently discussed this potential move, suggesting that the Eagles might look to move Dotson in exchange for some assets. The argument is that Dotson, despite his relatively modest stats so far, just 4 catches for 63 yards in 2025, still has a lot of upside. He's only 25 years old, and as a former first-round pick, he possesses that rare combination of talent and potential that teams covet, especially when they're trying to rebuild or add depth during a challenging season. The idea, according to Myers, is that Dotson could be an intriguing fit for the 49ers, especially with Ayuk potentially missing the first few weeks. His speed and ability to stretch the field could provide the stability and explosiveness that the 49ers desperately need in their passing game. The team, after all, has been somewhat limited in their passing attack, relying heavily on the tight end and running game, Christian McCaffrey in particular, who's been outstanding but also has some concerns regarding durability. But here's the catch: while Dotson is undeniably talented and has shown flashes of brilliance during his rookie season, his development has been somewhat inconsistent. In his first year, he had 35 catches for 523 yards and 7 touchdowns, which was promising. However, in his second year, he only managed 49 receptions for 518 yards and 4 touchdowns in 17 games. This year, the stats are even more modest, with just 4 catches for 63 yards so far. That's a concern, of course, because the 49ers are a team looking for immediate impact, especially now with their current injury woes. So what does this mean for the 49ers? Well, on one hand, acquiring Dotson could be seen as a gamble that pays off in the long run. His youth and upside mean he could develop into a top-tier receiver if given the right opportunities and coaching. But on the other hand, the 49ers are a team that needs more than just potential right now. They need guys who can step in and produce immediately, especially given their current situation. The team's roster, despite its depth, has seen better days. Even if they manage to stay healthy, the 49ers are no longer the unbeatable juggernaut they were a few seasons ago. Their Super Bowl aspirations are still alive, but they're more fragile. Their success depends heavily on the health of key players like Purdy and Kittle, as well as Christian McCaffrey, who has become the engine of their offense. If any of these guys miss significant time, the team's ceiling drops considerably. Adding a veteran wide receiver might make more sense for the 49ers at this point, someone who can provide reliable production and leadership, helping to fill the gap until their stars return. Dotson, with his upside, could be a luxury pick, a move that raises the team's ceiling but isn't necessarily the immediate fix they need. The team needs to stabilize its offense, and that usually means bringing in someone with proven NFL production, not just potential. The interesting part is that the team still has enough talent to be a playoff contender if they stay healthy. Their defense, led by stars like Nick Bosa, remains formidable, and their running game with Christian McCaffrey is among the best in the league. But as we all know, in the NFL, health and depth are everything. 1 or 2 injuries can derail even the most talented teams. That's why this trade talk, whether it materializes or not, sparks so much conversation among fans and analysts alike. Now let's take a moment here, because this is a good point to highlight how crucial the health of Purdy and Kittle will be for the 49ers as the season progresses. If they can get their key players back on the field, the team's chances of making a deep playoff run improve dramatically. But if injuries continue to pile up, then moves like acquiring a guy like Dotson could become more than just a speculative idea, they could be a necessity. Looking ahead, the 49ers have always been a team that values smart, strategic moves. Their front office has shown a willingness to adapt and make bold decisions when needed, which is a hallmark of championship contenders. Whether it's making a trade, adjusting their game plan, or relying on their young talents to step up, they have always been a team that plays the long game. This season, more than ever, that approach will be tested. And let's not forget about the bigger picture. The NFC West is fiercely competitive right now. The Seahawks have been surprisingly strong, the Rams are still lurking, and the Cardinals are looking to build for the future. For the 49ers, maintaining their dominance in this division isn't just about talent, it's about resilience, adaptability, and making the right moves at the right time. A trade for a player like Dotson could be one of those moves, a move that could either solidify their offense or become a gamble that doesn't pay off. But the real question fans are asking, and I'm sure many of you are thinking the same, is what does this mean for the team's Super Bowl chances? The 49ers have one of the most balanced and talented rosters in the league when healthy. Their defense is among the best, their running game is elite, and their coaching staff, led by Kyle Shanahan, is arguably one of the most innovative in the league. However, injuries have exposed some vulnerabilities, especially at wide receiver and quarterback positions. The team's depth at wide receiver, once considered a strength, has been tested by injuries and inconsistent performances. Brandon Ayuk, who burst onto the scene last year with his playmaking ability, has been somewhat hampered by his own struggles this season. Without Kittle and with Purdy potentially out for a couple of games, the offense has had to rely heavily on the run game and short passing schemes. That's where a player like Dotson could theoretically fit in, providing a vertical threat and stretching the field, which would open up more options for Purdy when he's back on the field, or even for whoever is under center. But it's also worth noting that the 49ers coaching staff has a history of maximizing their players' potential. They've been adept at developing their roster and making strategic moves to stay competitive. If a trade for Dotson were to happen, it would likely be part of a broader strategy to position the team for a deep playoff run, not just a quick fix. The team's front office and coaching staff have shown a keen eye for talent and a willingness to make bold decisions when necessary. Of course, fans are always eager to see their team make bold moves, especially when the stakes are high. The trade deadline is approaching, and that always adds an extra layer of excitement and speculation. Will the 49ers pull the trigger on a deal that might bring in a young receiver with upside? Or will they focus on their current roster, hoping that their stars recover and that the team can gel together in time for the postseason? That's the big question hanging in the air, and it's what makes following the 49ers this season so compelling. Looking at the broader context, the NFL landscape this year is incredibly competitive. The Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and Dolphins are all vying for supremacy, but the 49ers, despite their challenges, remain a team to watch. Their ability to adapt, to overcome adversity, and to make strategic moves will determine whether they can reach another Super Bowl. And right now, every injury, every trade rumor, every game plan adjustment plays a part in shaping their destiny. So to all you 49ers fans out there, this season is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing in recent memory. The team's resilience will be tested, but their potential remains vast. Whether they make a bold move now or wait until the offseason, one thing is clear. The passion, the talent, and the strategic mind behind this team are still very much alive and ready to compete at the highest level. The NFC West is watching, the league is watching, and we as fans are right here riding every wave of this roller coaster. And now, San Francisco 49ers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe a trade for Jahan Dotson makes sense for the current team? Or do you think they should focus on staying the course with what they have and developing their younger players? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest San Francisco 49ers news.